and defense attorney Shan Wu for some analysis as well. Shan, how effective were each side's opening statements, and who might now have the upper hand with the jurors?
I would say I'd give a nod to the plaintiff, Ms. Carroll's team, on the opening statements, because they are focusing very much on the facts and, importantly, corroboration of this. The pattern evidence that they have alluded to is very, very powerful, damaging evidence to a defendant in a sexual abuse case. It requires careful handling by the judge to make sure that it doesn't cause inappropriate inferences to be made. But if it comes in and can withstand judicial scrutiny, that is going to be very difficult for the Trump team to overcome. And in contrast, Trump's legal team seems to really be relying on kind of a blustery defense. Trump not being there, I think, is a poor visual optic because it makes his lawyer, Tacopina, look like his stand-in. He's a very blustery style of attorney, and so it really becomes more a question of looking like Trump's just very bullying and dismissive towards the charges, not even taking it seriously enough to be there. I think that by itself is a really poor choice strategically.
Kara, how is Carroll's team approaching the fact that this alleged assault happened, 3 decades or so ago, without eyewitnesses?
Well, so they said that they're going to call 2 friends of Carroll, who Carroll said that she confided in immediately after the assault, calling one just as she fled the department store while she was still on the streets of Manhattan. And those women, they say, will corroborate her story, one of them advising her to go to the police and the other saying Trump is too powerful to take on. At the time, he was a fixture of the New York tabloids. He was the big real estate developer, and they said, he will take her down. He's too powerful. They also say that they're going to call 2 witnesses from Bergdorf Goodman. Now, these witnesses do not have any eyewitness accounts. They can't say anything about the alleged assault, but the Carroll's attorneys say they want to call them to back up Carroll's description of the department store, of the dressing room, how it was so quiet, how people were there on a Thursday night. That's the one night a week where Bergdorf Goodman stayed open late, but that it was generally empty. So they are calling them to try to set the scene and back up Carroll's description of the scene, because one of the issues is, how is this able to happen in a public department store? And Carroll's lawyer saying that it happened because there was no one there. It was just an empty department store on the 6th floor in the lingerie department, and so there were no witnesses. So they're trying to buttress her claims with both the real-time people that she confided in, as well as setting up the scene of the store. But of course, that is something that Trump's lawyers are already attacking by saying that she never went to the police, that she didn't write it in her diary. She was an avid diary keeper, they said, and she never noted this. They're also suggesting that she never even told one of these friends until years later, only when she decided to write a book. So there's going to be a lot coming down to the credibility, but her attorneys here are focusing on any real-time conversations she may have had that could set the scene in the 90s, and those Bergdorf Goodman employees who can describe what the dressing room was like and how it was quiet on that floor.
In the past, Shan, Trump has denied these allegations by saying Carroll wasn't his type, and has denied even knowing her despite being photographed together on an earlier occasion. How much of a liability is that for his defense?
That's a big liability, Wolf. I mean, saying you don't know someone and then, it turns out that there are pictures of you with them. And in particular, the offensive statement he makes that she's not my type, that's just not a very helpful defense to what happened, because actually what that sounds like today to people, if you say something like that, I didn't assault this person because they're not the type of person I would want to assault, is really damaging to him. It makes it clear that he has a perspective towards women that has to do with, if he's attracted to them, that he can do what he wants, which is, of course, the Access Hollywood tape. So I think all that is a really poor look for him and very damaging, and I expect Carroll's attorneys to really use that to their advantage.
Yeah, I suspect you're right. Shan Wu and Kara Scannell, guys, thank you very, very much. Now to all the